Hey everyone, it's Nate. Today we're talking about the stimulus check update for November 2nd, 2020, what's happening with it, where the bill is at currently, why things are being held up, and why you have also not smashed the like button yet for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for coming today. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Nate. I make videos about personal finance, updates on the current stimulus package situation, and about things on how to invest, how to grow your money, how to use your credit card responsibly, total, complete personal finance education. That's what I do here. I'm here to help you out. And so if you like this, please stick around. I post videos multiple times a week. At minimum, it's gonna be 2, but sometimes we'll have up to 5 and 7. So with that out of the way, let's discuss what we're here to talk about, and that is the second stimulus package and when you can expect your next check. So as of right now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin have not been able to reach an agreement on a package they've been working on for well over a month now. And what's constantly been happening is both sides have said, well, you're holding things up, and it's been a back and forth thing for weeks now. It's not new news that is happening. And so essentially the complaint one side has had against the other and vice versa essentially is this: your all or nothing approach is hurting hardworking Americans who need help now. This is what's been said back and forth to each other for the past several weeks, and is an indicator of where the stimulus talks currently are. And so the question comes up, what are the items that are keeping the Republicans and the Democrats from coming to an agreement on this stimulus package? There are several reasons, but these next 6 things are going to be the top items that are currently holding back the package from being passed, and the items that need to be discussed and negotiated to come to common ground on. And until that happens, unfortunately, there's going to be no stimulus package. So it's important to keep updated on what's happening with these things because governmental funds may become available and they may be limited. So you want to know what's happening as soon as it's happening, and I am, to the best of my ability, going to report all of this here on my channel. So without further ado, here are the things that are currently holding up the negotiations. And the first one up here is going to be state and local funding. On October 20th, Nancy Pelosi described that state and local funding are one of the bookend items that are currently holding things up in the negotiations. Nancy Pelosi states this money is going to be going to teachers, first responders, and other healthcare workers. And the White House has countered by saying, we don't want to bail out failed cities that are run by Democrats. We want to give money to the American people. And also one thing with these, I'm not going to one side or the other. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible here, just explaining what's happening, what's going on, and how it impacts you. The next contested item on the bill is going to be liability protections for businesses. As of right now, if someone thinks they contracted COVID at a business, restaurant, wherever, they could potentially try and sue the owner of the business. What Steve Mnuchin is trying to have happen is have liability protections for business owners be implemented into the bill. This has been seconded by Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader, basically saying that any bill that we have come through, it must have this included in it for us to pass it. And this is what Nancy Pelosi has countered with. I think that there's a balance that can be struck, but it isn't the Mitch McConnell language. Steve Mnuchin then countered this, saying that they've made concessions and agreements to give some leeway on some things. With testing, tracing, and treatment, Pelosi has called for an increase in funding for helping identify, study, and crush the virus, and increasing funding to help support hospitals and healthcare providers. And according to Steve Mnuchin, they have reached a verbal agreement on this. The next contested item is going to be school and child care funding. Pelosi has stated that funding for this is a paramount and outstanding issue, and Mnuchin has countered, saying that he has given reasonable concessions and offers to her about this. The next item is going to be tax credits for working families. Nancy Pelosi is trying to get increased funding for the earned income tax credit and child tax credits to improve those for working families. The last item here that is holding a potential deal is going to be unemployment, and Nancy Pelosi has stated that she has not yet got a response on that, but Mnuchin counters, saying that Pelosi is not wavering and not being reasonable with her numbers, and that she refused to compromise on an amount for the unemployment. And what Pelosi is suggesting is a $600 per week additional amount of unemployment that is going to bridge the gap from the beginning of August to December. And this also includes a phase-out period from the end of December to March. So this gives a very long time period of coverage, and this is going to be very expensive because that amount of time with as many people as we do currently have unemployed. At the peak, it was about 30 million people, so you do the math, $600 a week times 30 million, that is a lot of money to spend on unemployment. But I recognize and I do know that a lot of people need that, and I myself benefited from that the first time around when they had the $600 per week additional unemployment. I had gotten laid off from my job back in April, and that greatly helped me out. My wife and I were able to not have to worry about bills or anything. It was fantastic. So I truly believe that the unemployment assistance in this bill is the most important aspect, and I would love to see it be as high as possible because people got to pay bills, they need to be able to eat and pay everything else. Life's not cheap, and this would absolutely help in one of the hardest times that we have seen in modern history. So as of October 9th, the White House offered a $1.8 trillion deal. They then upped that later in the month to $1.9 trillion, and Nancy Pelosi still sits at about a $2.1 to $2.2 trillion bill. There's going to be some back and forth with this, but I think they're going to come to an agreement eventually at about $2 trillion, considering where they're at currently. Additionally, in this bill, there's going to be a second stimulus check. That's going to be $1,200 per qualifying American and $500 per qualifying dependent, regardless of age. Before, dependents did not get a stimulus check. This time, they do, which is pretty great. So with all of this said, and considering that the election is just one day away from the time this video is filmed, now this is just my input here, just my thoughts. I truly think we're not going to see a stimulus package be passed until after Inauguration Day. So after January 20th, whatever happens with the election, I believe we will see a stimulus package pass both the House, Senate, and be signed by the president in probably February. That's my guess. That's my thought. And at that time, we'll have a nice little celebration because COVID will be a year old. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, guys. So with all that said, I'll see you guys next time. I will update you as soon as I have more information to give you. But this has been your update on the COVID crisis and current stimulus package talks for November 2nd, 2020. This has been Nate Buck, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.